Namaste. In this episode of Youth Ki Baat, Pune Founders Edition, a Youth of India Foundation, we have a conversation with Sanjay Katkar Ji, the co-founder of Quick Heal Technologies, one of India's leading cybersecurity companies. From writing antivirus code in a small room in Pune to scaling a 2,000 crore plus company. Sanjay Ji's journey is a masterclass of focus, consistency, and quiet leadership. We dive into the untold story of the rise of Quickie, building tech credibility when no one believed an Indian product could compete. Lessons in scaling with integrity, not hype. This conversation is not about building just from the ground up. It is about building from the ground up with utmost patience, perseverance, and consistency. Namaste, Sanjay sir. It is an absolute privilege to have you here with us at Youth Ki Baat, and I'm so sure that people will have so many takeaways from this session.
Namaste and thank you for having me here. And it's my pleasure. I love to talk and interact with you guys. Actually,
Thank you so much. Sanjay sir, from a 10 into 12 feet house in Vakrevari
yeah.
to building a 2000 crore plus company,
Mhm.
how has this journey been for you?
If I have to put, it's like it has been quite exciting. I'll say quite thrilling as at the most, because see what has happened. I never in those days I had imagined that I'd be growing this big. I'd be making this big. The thing is, those days were quite struggling days for us. We were coming from humble background. I had schooling, which was very challenging at the same time. Economically, we were facing a lot of challenge, and then those early days really shaped us. Actually, staying there, because see, in those days, I learned from the early childhood like how hard work matters, how hard work is so important to be successful in your life, how we can come out with anything in whatever resources we have. So whatever limited resource we have, we can still make it. All those learnings were there with us, and that stayed with us, and it really helped me when I started Quick Hill. So because in early days of startup, as you know, everybody faces challenges, and all businesses, startups, and those challenges never felt like challenges, because I had been brought up in the mind of like staying frugal, doing hard work, staying grounded. All these qualities are at those early days really helped me in my startup journey
Right.
to remain financially independent, at the same time remain focused, remain disciplined, and those qualities really helped. And gradually I was able to build something that really solved people's problem, really helped us to grow. And I was like very glad, and that's how Wikil started, I'll say. And
Yeah.
that journey was, I mean, that was the beginning, but never I had thought that I would make it this big. And how it happened was, see, now it's almost 3 decades old, and so every year, every step I realize, okay, there's more to do. I can still do something that can grow this to the next stage. And throughout this journey, my elder brother was with me, with whom I co-founded this thing. We really started small locally initially, but then gradually, as we grow out of Pune, we grew to other cities. We expanded our presence in different cities across India. In from say 2002 to 2009, we had expanded in newer city every 6 months, and that
Right.
almost like more than 30 cities across India we were present in 2008, and having a channel partner network of 25,000 resellers. That really made us realize that yes, it is possible to give tough fight to competition like MNC products out there, and a product from India can go global. And that was the moment, I'll say, we decided, let's now make it further bigger. So not only in India, we started thinking about going global. We got funding from Sequoia Capital in 2009 to 2010 roughly, and with that kind of investor backing, we started expanding out of India.
Hmm.
And along the way, we also got guidance to get into enterprise security, which is a completely different ball game for us, because we started with consumer antivirus, which was for pure play consumers, PCs, home PCs, single users. But then for enterprise, cybersecurity was a completely different market, as well as completely different approach here, because the threats are different out there. And So to handle that, we got that investment. We got the help from Sequoia about how to go global, how to make governance to the level where the company becomes multinational. And those days were quite learning for us as well. So I'll say every decade, every year, we had been learning, improving ourselves, going to the next stage. And today here we are having becoming a completely truly multinational company, having millions of users across the globe and serving people to protect their pieces, I'll say.
That is amazing. Kudos to you, definitely, for that. You've always mentioned that you're not limited by your background, you're limited by your belief.
Yeah, I truly believe that, actually. Yeah.
How do you go about it? And also, adding up to the question about the mistakes that you say that happen to occur in every year passing by, how do you look at mistakes? Do you look at it as a perspective from, we generally say that we learn from our own mistakes. How do you look at these two prospects?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, as myself, I am a living example of like, where do I came from really didn't hampered my ambition to go to the stage where I am today.
Right.
And I learned that over the process itself. Like, it's not like I was knowing at the early stage, but the thing is, as I started learning and improving myself, our products and doing things, I realized it's possible if we put all our heart into that, actually. So see, there was no funding for us at that early stage. There was no, we never came from a like entrepreneurship background. Like, for us, my parents come from a farming background, and not even business family, I'll say. And then he started doing job, and so we growing up in a situation where everything was limited, resources were limited. So we started that, and now if you see what we have achieved, I have realized that how was it possible? Just because we never had that attitude of giving up. The problem I've seen with a lot of new entrepreneurs or startup guys who keep on talking about it, we are not having funds, we are not, I mean, well funded, or there's like lack of resources, we are not getting engineers. So all those challenges are just a step. You need to learn, improve, that trying to teach you something. And that's what I've learned over these years. What I've very crucial aspect I'll tell every founder is that whatever challenge you face while you are working on your startup, they are there to teach you something. And unless you learn that, you will be stuck up there. And then once you learn that, you automatically will come out of that, and the challenge is no more a challenge for you. And you can compare it with your conventional exams. If you see, if you are not having marks which are even passing marks, what does the college does? They ask you to sit for the same exam again and again. And what's the purpose is? The purpose is that you learn out of that to the level where you can go to the next stage. That is just theoretical approach, but the nature's way is the same way. The only thing is nature to teach us in a much harsher way. They punish us a lot. Actually, nature does a way that you start feeling, I'm not going anywhere, I'm stuck there. But if you start thinking what it is trying to teach me, what it is trying to make me or change, bring the change in me, and once you get that change, you automatically move out of that. Actually, so that's what I've learned, I'll say. Yeah.
Very right.
And what was your next question?
The first question was the belief one, and the second was the mistakes one, and you answered
Yeah.
both
Oh,
perfectly
okay.
here
Yeah.
all at once. You have always been a very purpose driven individual. When you look at it, you have always wanted to solve a problem, and that is how the antivirus problem came in. What was your first initial steps to actually build up antivirus as a solution?
Yeah, it's a very good question, I'll say. Yeah. The thing is, we have seen, and many startup founders do ask me, okay, I have this platform, I've come up with this thing, whether this will work. And I always tell them, don't think on your own and then ask yourself whether this will. You think of your customer first and see what problem they are facing and solve the real problems. Like, don't chase investments or don't chase hypes. Like, something is like in hype. Like, currently, if you say AI or all these things are like, things are there out there, but if you start running behind those trends or start running behind investment or start running behind glamour, you will not solve the problem. Then it's not going to go long way.
Right.
The very thing is that if you have something in you to solve a skill or a talent that is solving something in that you care about, and you will do that much better than anybody else. automatically you will start coming out with something, service or a product that will solve real problem. And that is the crux. If you start solving real problem, things start getting following you, and the success will follow automatically. So very crux I'll say is solve real problems, and don't wait for the perfect moment. That's also one more I'll guide, or I'll say tip that I'll give. Many people start thinking I am making it, I am trying to make it perfect.
Right.
There is nothing like perfect. Your first version can be messy, your first version can be see, if you see any big brand now, and if you go to the roots, you'll see they have started messy, they have started small, and then they have grown. Because so just don't think about your solution is small or something. If you have something that is solving problem, just go out and take your first step.
That is amazing. I think failure in that case is the first step to success, as it is
That's right.
always
Yeah.
rightly said. How did the idea of naming the company Quick Heal come to you?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a very interesting thing. When I finished developing the first version, with I was in college itself, last year of masters, and I was thinking of naming it, and we used to discuss among my friends, as well as in office. But then I said, I don't know how it struck me. I started thinking the name should give in idea what it is actually. And that's where the challenge at that time most of the products were facing, and the customers were facing using those products, were that antivirus were very slow, and antiviruses were not cleaning things, they were just detecting and deleting them. And I had developed the first version which was quite fast. I wanted to make sure mine is not the slowest one, because I wanted to create some differentiator. And then the other was, I not only detect but I clean the machines, computers. And that's how I said the name should reflect that, and that's how Quick Heal struck me actually.
I think you were the manual Quick Heal at that time.
Yeah, that you can
And
say that actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you built a tool which is much more efficient. And I think every one of us in our childhood too right now has used it. At least we'll have CDs of their own.
Yeah, yeah.
We have old CDs of Quick Heal at our home. I think everyone has it in their homes. Right now, the entire tech advancement has come. There has
Hmm.
been AI, machine learning.
Yeah.
How important do you think is for a company to be dynamic so that they can actually adhere to the changes?
Yeah. So if you see, we are hearing about AI since last 3 4 years, but
Right.
at Quickhill and as a product company, we have been dealing with machine learning since years, like almost 2 decades. The thing is, see, when I started, viruses were the problem. They were growing more sophisticated day by day. They were growing in numbers day by day. So as internet happened, as email happened, as broadband happened, and then now mobility, the growth in threats or cyber threats has grown exponential, and
Right.
crime has entered the scene and all those things. So one thing is for sure, we cannot catch up if we keep on doing these things manually. And I
Right.
cannot have researchers working on each and every virus manually. Those were the uh, learnings I learned in 2000 itself, because a number of viruses I've started seeing hundreds and then thousands per week, and then daily thousands of viruses. So we as a engineer, like, and coming from tech background, I always started of thinking about automating things. So we initially automated it to detect, and we realized now we can further automate it, and we started understanding how machine learning work. We implemented machine learning in our lab, and then machine learning helped us to cluster the samples, bifurcate them, make it more detectable. And now if you see, machine learning has been into our labs since 2 decades, but then after the implementation of AI, it has really helped us to go further. We just not use ML for just detection. We now are using it for predicting threats, how
Right.
even before they are striking. So now we are sitting in the enterprise infrastructure and learning through all the sensor alerts that are getting, and predicting the attacks and stopping them before attacks. So AI ML is something that is very crucial for cybersecurity, I'll say. But nowadays, I can also talk about other industry, because I've seen it is helping every other industry out there to
Right.
automate, to come out with the best possible solution without much human intervention. And it's something I'll say boon, and we are lucky to see that kind of innovations happening in our lifetime, I'll say.
I think over the past 3 decades, you've seen a lot of change from where you're
Yeah.
coming from to right now.
no
A-
internet to
yeah,
full connectivity and everything digital. And now with the kind of uh, AI releasing every few quarters, we are seeing so much development happening. I'm sure next 5 years will be something like we had never imagined actually.
that
Yeah.
is very true. Even in fact, our generation, we started very high though. We started
Mhm.
with BlackBerry phones and everything, and
Yeah.
now we have iPads, we have iPhones, tablets, and everything that sort. So has been a little change in our time as
Hmm.
well. But your change is extremely from the ground low to the ground up.
That's right. Yeah.
So that is very nice. One thing that I want to ask right now is, since we're talking about AI has its own set of advantages, as you said. But with the increasing cases of personality, identity theft, and cyber threats in cases like this, do you think AI also plays a very important role in the negative perspective of it?
Yeah, it is already. I'll say since AI has become more accessible, uh,
Right.
now cyber criminals are using it for their advantage. The thing is, if you see the newer attacks that are happening, the deepfake attacks, deepfake videos, deepfake audios, and more sophisticated emails and phishing attacks that are targeted towards the individual, designed for that particular individual. So all this is because of AI being used by cyber criminals. So AI is definitely being used by bad guys to sophisticate their attack to more precise, and at the same time more faster. So now if you see, the game is changed to the level where we are just not fighting cyber criminals, but we are fighting AI agents developed by these cyber criminals. They are cloud based, they are automated, and then these security AI agents are fighting them in the cloud. So it's like AI versus AI that is already started, I'll say.
Very right. With your first virus, what
Mhm.
was the challenge that you faced? The first virus that you detected and you put a
Yeah,
solution to it.
first virus, I'll say I was more into, like, those were the floppy days. We were not even having internet, so I had to collect the sample from somebody who said I am seeing these symptoms, and I realized that's a virus. But then I have to collect. So I went there, I picked up floppy. I tried to, I pick a empty floppy, tried to get my floppy infected, and then came back and started analyzing that. But what tool to use, how to do that, all these were the very early stage challenges. But since I was doing college at that time, it was like this year second year, we were taught about reverse engineering and all that. That really helped. I said, oh, I can try this out. And I want, the biggest challenge, I'll say, is lack of information,
Right.
because there was no internet or Google where I would say I'll search. And it's all, we had to depend on the books, and books were outdated. We never had latest books out there in the market, so we have to figure it out on our own. So that was, I'll say, challenge, at the same time advantage, because that really made us more curious, more deeper. We had to go more deep. That really helped us, I'll say.
There are always two sides to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Who has been the biggest push in your journey? In your family, Kailash sir, of course,
yeah, yeah, I
your
was
mom,
going to
of
say that.
course.
Yeah.
So, what has been the biggest push that you have gotten from your family as well as outside when the users were giving you feedback about your products while in the initial days?
Yeah, so you rightly pointed. Initially, it had been my elder brother who kept on pushing me to do best. Even after he dropped out of school, he made sure that I do my complete my studies. I do focus on studies, and that was the early days. And mom had been my inspiration since long, actually,
Right.
like, because she was the, like, torch bearer for us throughout that challenging days, I'll say. And at that, after those days, I'll say the biggest push had been my teachers and college professors, who really said that you are different, you can do something different, and they really believed in me. And of course, after that, as we started developing and releasing tools, customer feedback had been really encouraging every time, and that really kept on encouraging us every
Right.
single day. Because whenever we used to release something, we know that we are competing out there with the biggest of the brands out there. They were there out, but then what could make our customers still use our product? And that's the differentiated we started looking, and we realized we could solve something that even MNCs are not able to solve. And that was the feedback coming from the customers, and that really gave us a push to do more, work more on that,
I think young Sanjay was the most curious person in the room.
actually.
How do you think curiosity plays an important role in an individuality?
Yeah, actually, it opens a lot of doors, I'll say. And one is like it also keeps you focused at the same time. So
Right.
curiosity for me was like I I kept on going deeper and deeper with the challenges that viruses were throwing. Every new virus that was coming, even I, because I started reverse engineering viruses when I was doing college, but it also kept me away from any distractions, I'll say, because curiosity is something that automatically connects with passion. If you're passionate, you become more curious, and if you're passionate and curious, you will get I mean, no matter how many distractions come, no matter, there will be people out there who will say you cannot make it, you cannot create a product out of India. All these things, challenges had been there, but that passion and curiosity really make me like I can do it and I can make it and I can show it. And that's how it helped me, I'll say.
Let's now get to know you in the personal level. So
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you love enjoying activities abroad. You travel a lot.
Hmm.
How do your weekends look like?
Yeah, for weekends, I'll say more of a I love to spend time with family and friends. I do that, but at the same time, it's a good enough time for me to relax, work on my hobbies. Hobbies like I'm trying to learn Spanish nowadays. That's one of my hobby. I keep on learning Spanish lessons and seeing some movie at the end of the day or something like that. So that's my weekend idea always. But of course, being busy, what happens, sometimes I have been always been invited to certain events or conferences which I only had to go if at all it is very important. But then
Right.
apart from that, I try to keep Saturday Sunday for myself, I'll say.
That is very fun and chill days for you then
Yeah,
in the weekend. Quickheel has recently collaborated with ISRO as well, and that is such a milestone for you.
yeah.
So, how did the collaboration go about?
Yeah, so I'll say we are very proud of what happened with ISRO. The thing is, it's not the recent collaboration. This collaboration is almost a decade old. Actually, I'll say
All
it
right, okay.
started with a small POC for their small networks. They were
Okay.
facing some cyber attacks, which were from state-sponsored attacks, with not cyber crime attacks. So, state sponsors are attack which are more sophisticated, and they wanted to have something that is made in India, something that is uh, trying to protect that. So we showed and I'm happy that they found something that we can help them, and they tried us. It worked well, but further we realized that they need a certain customization, something that, because their networks are completely different, they are isolated and not on regular internet infra kind of thing. And we really understood their whole ecosystem. We tried to customize our product for them, and they are very good scientists out there. They had a pretty good idea about newer features what they want in the cybersecurity products, and that really helped us. And this collaboration has come along almost so well, and I'm happy that they are using us, protecting their amazing missions that they are doing, actually, moon mission, even sun mission, and then Mars mission. And we are happy to collaborate with them, I'll say.
That is very right. Even we had the privilege to host Dr. S. Somnath Ji at
Yeah,
Youth Ki Baat last year, and it was very inspiring to talk to him and
yeah.
get to know about the initiatives that they're
Yeah, I'll
carrying
say
out.
they are quite ahead of time, in the sense like they now, I'll say, right people are there at the government as well as in these institutes, where they feel that space tech is a future big pillar of national security, because it's a part of national security. If you we see Navy, Army, Air Force as three wings, but then space tech is a new wing that has attached, and cyber security is one more wing. So total five wings are looking at that, and securing space tech is something that has very plays a very crucial role in that. And so now we don't look at it as just a matter of pride, but it is a responsibility for us. We look at it as a responsibility, and we really take national security seriously, I'll say.
So, how do you plan on expanding Quick Heal's legacy in these pillars as well?
Yeah, we are building tools to help these pillar to get strengthened. So thing is, nowadays, see, technologies which are developed locally, regionally, indigenously are going to be crucial in these days, because whatever we are developing for our nation, there are out there enemies out there who don't want us to progress. And then in this stage we cannot depend on MNC products, and that's where we want to make sure that as a nation we have these technologies or these founding pillars built securely. And based on our experience of 3 decades, I'll say we have the biggest virus analysis lab in India, or malware analysis lab, which is the cyber threat lab we are very proud of, and that is come along and given us so much of experience of how to handle the growth, how to handle all these, automate these things, and this is helping us. Now we are seeing how we can help other organizations to do that, and setting up their own lab to make sure these threats are detected in their premises, not taking any help of MNC products. So that is how we are planning it.
Yeah, right, that is great. You and Kailashi handle the entire Quick Heal ecosystem. You two are brothers, and often it is said that there might be disagreements, there
Mhm.
might be differences coming in with
Mhm.
both of you. How do you handle that at a personal level?
See, as you know my background, we coming from humble family. The early days have taught us to work as a team always. Of course, there are differences, and differences will always be there. But in spite of those differences, how to work together is something that we learned there, I'll say, and that is how it has helped us throughout this journey. Because um, that growing up days shaped us to work as a team. And no matter what, and there are a lot of disagreements do happen, but we make sure that finally the decision has to be in the favor of the company. So what is good for company is
Right.
always thought, and that's how we conclude that arguments, I'll say, actually.
Oh, that's amazing. How did the vision of Saccharide came in, and how did you build it up? With what vision did you hold for that?
Yeah. So, Secret, even though it's not a separate company, but we have
Yeah.
created it as a separate brand,
Branch.
just to make sure that we have a right communication going to the company. Because
Right.
see, Quickhill has grown from consumer antivirus to this level where we have millions of users, but then all our communication about Quickhill, advertisement, may it be radio, TV, or print, had been all about how features are configured towards the consumers. And then we wanted to make sure people take us seriously when we are developing software for enterprises. So we have to create that separate vertical, and we cannot communicate the same thing through a same brand, different thing. So we
Yes.
created a Separate as a brand. This happened after we got funding from Sequoia, and we started expanding by creating offerings for enterprises. So we started with endpoint security as our offering, and by 2016 we got listed, and then we got into features like zero trust platform, and then mobility management, and now it's like a completely cybersecurity solutions for large enterprise to every all kind of businesses, I'll say.
We've seen a recent collaboration of Quick Heal with Bhutan.
Mhm.
So, how do you think, how does the company go about with the collaborations with countries outside in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so if you see, Quickhill has gone global since long. Actually, we have Bhutan partner was a recent visit, and we had expansion of our Separate brand now in Bhutan as well.
That's
But
amazing.
as a brand, Quickhill is known in almost 80 countries globally. But now my vision for next 5 years is about taking Separate to that level where Quickhill is now,
Right.
actually. So making sure that we are also among the global leaders in cybersecurity in enterprise space. That's my vision for next 5 years, I'll say.
Your determination makes me feel awe about the entire thing. So, what do you think? How important is persistence, determination, and how important is to align everything that you do to the one goal that you have?
Yeah, so it has to, means I'll say one has to be very much persistent about what he is planned, actually. Because see, whatever you start, you difficulties will be always be there, and it will always try to pull you down. And many a times how you have conditioned your mind really decides how you're going to navigate through that situation, and
Right.
that's where persistence comes in, actually. So uh, you just have to be patient throughout their challenges, learn, try to see what it is trying to teach you, adapt it and change it. That's the only approach I have been taking, and it is helping me. And that's where I'll say, oh, many a times what has happened, nowadays world has become so quick. People want results in 6 months, or in a year I should be here, and if not, then it's not a good path or something like that.
Right.
That is where I don't come from. I have this habit of like, okay, I have decided something, and if it is taking time, I'll have patience, I'll wait for that. That really helps, and it has helped for me along. So being fast is good, but at the same time being patient is very crucial.
That is very necessary, right? I think in today's time, the short-term dopamine boost of rewards and achievements are actually changing the narrative of the long-term vision and
Yeah.
plan and patience. That is very
Yeah,
right.
I mean, means that ends up in like somewhere entrepreneurs, like then they start chasing founder, I mean, investors for faster growth because they want funding. And why they want funding is to expand faster, do things faster. And if they start doing things faster, they burn more than they earn actually, and that's where
Right.
when the ecosystem changes completely. And now then you have to chase revenue initially, and then later they start chasing profits, and then to chase profits is very difficult if you are burning so much actually. If you expand faster, you spend much more than what is the revenue actually, but then that becomes a different rat race, I'll say.
Right. I think back in time when you started, there were no buzzwords like startups,
Yeah,
valuations, and
of
everything
course.
like
In
that.
fact, I was not even knowing any accounting terms like EBITDA or profit after tax, PAT, and all those were new for me, I'll say. The thing is, even investment, angel investment, VC, seed funds, they were, I mean, never knew those terms actually.
How do you look at the startup ecosystem in India evolving right now?
I'll say it's quite evolved now. It's like I'm glad I'm seeing so much of ecosystem maturity with respect to the kind of investors that are there out there, the kind of startups that are coming up, even startups that are into deep tech. I have seen in Bangalore, in Pune, and I'm very happy that this is like we are having a brighter future. This points to that. Like I've seen quantum computer companies, I've seen encryption companies are doing good, and then startups apart from that, space tech I have seen who are doing good actually, and that's great to see. And on the other hand, the government doing so much for startups, like coming out with incentive schemes, coming out with support, coming out with incubations, coming out with funds. All these things is really helping that boost these things actually.
Right. I think the government is the biggest push right here in order to
Right.
evolve the startup ecosystem. That is very right. Sanjay sir, coming to a question that
Hmm.
if quick heal did not happen,
Hmm.
what would you be doing?
Oh yeah, probably I would have been into marketing, I'll say, because I really love this, and I enjoy doing communication. I like to do storytelling. I like to do communication, especially when it comes to how it is going with the your end user or end customer, whether it they are understanding it, or where they are means what is it that they are looking into a product, and how to make sure that we communicate that to the product, what we are doing best actually. So that is something area of interest of mine, and I've been like I'm lucky to enjoy that in even in quickly. Even though I am a tech background, I really do a lot of give inputs to marketing and learn from them as well.
Right, very right. Before the next question, I would like to answer that myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is the one entrepreneur that everyone should follow? And in my case, it is you because I actually went through your entire LinkedIn. And as you rightly said right now,
Mm-hmm.
you love communicating, you love storytelling, and that is completely reflected there.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
you are one entrepreneur that I would want every youth watching this to follow and see how
Mm-hmm.
you go about things. What is that one entrepreneur to you? Who is it?
Yeah, see, I had grown up when and I had read a lot about this Bill Gates because I came from tech background. I had read about him.
Right.
I have read about even Steve Jobs, and I really liked the way they handled the startup at those days. Actually, the early days. Okay, one can learn a lot after once it's gone big. It's like a completely different story. But in their early days, I've read those books about Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and they really inspired me a lot. I thought I like we can learn a lot of things from them actually.
That is right. What was the one most challenging virus that you had to tackle?
One is difficult because every virus is more challenging, but I'll say in early days, DOS viruses were completely different because they were not motivated with money or something, because at that time there was no e-commerce or something. They were
Right.
completely driven by passion of the virus writer, And so one virus I still remember from those early days was one half. The name was one half, which is a DOS virus, and it was very nasty and dangerous, I'll say. I took really a long time for me to crack that at that time.
And you did that successfully, no doubt on it. So,
Yeah.
what do you think has been the proudest moment of your journey?
Proudest moment for, I'll say, my journey is Quick Heal journey. So for my Quick Heal getting listed on stock exchange was the proudest moment, I'll say. It kind of uh, made me think like this is a validation of what we have been looking for. Something like something that uh, we were looking for, proving ourselves. We were looking to showcase that a product company can come out of India, a
Right.
cybersecurity solution can come out of India, and that kind of validation is getting listed, and that really was the proudest moment, I'll say.
And that came along with a lot of hard work, I'm very sure about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
How did you celebrate it?
Of course, celebration. Yeah, so we all. I still remember the day when we had gone for the listing day, which where we had to ring the bell for BSC listing day, and in the evening we had a board of director committee members and everybody there, and including my family, my kids and wife. We all went for a nice dinner. That was the celebration for us actually, and just the whole throughout that journey, we were just remembering how we started and how where we have reached actually.
A lot of nostalgia
Yeah.
in plate for that. Sanjay sir, you seem like a quite adventurous person as well,
Mhm.
are you? So,
Yes.
what is the one adventure sport that you would want to try?
Yeah, I'm like adventure sports lover, and I've done almost everything, but I'm still there in the bucket list. I'm not done is surfing, so I'm wanted to do wave surfing, and I'm sure I'll do it one day
I'm sure that I'll get to see that in
actually.
the
Yeah,
coming days too.
sure, sure, yeah.
One thing you wish people knew before starting up and being an entrepreneur.
And just repeat the question.
One thing you
Hmm.
thought you wish that people knew
Hmm.
before actually starting up.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say entrepreneurship starting up is a good step, but it's just remember that it's not glamorous at all. It's not glamorous. Just be ready to grind, I'll say. Yeah.
That's amazing. What is the one advice that you would give to all the young people watching this right here?
Yes, simple. I'll say throughout my talk, I had been talking. Just be curious and just think big, dream big is what I'll say. Because unless you dream, you'll not take the next step. Just dream big and start taking steps, no matter how small they can be. But taking action is something that really will take you towards that path, I'll say.
I think that is a major, major takeaway from this session.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you so very much, Sanjay sir, for joining us today at Youth Ki Baat. I'm sure all the youth watching today would be extremely inspired and motivated by your words. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. I'll say thank you for bringing this podcast and calling me out here. And like, I'm always glad to talk to all the next generation. And I'll be glad if somebody really takes some lessons from this and it really helps them. I'm happy. I'll say, yeah.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.